Good morning. I'm Glenn Allen of Goal Crusher Marketing, and this morning I want to talk about what does it take to get people to read and respond to your emails. If you're going to spend all this time crafting great newsletters or offers, promos, giveaways, or just something that's really informative that people keep asking you about, but they're not reading the email that has all the information they need to have, it's because of your subject lines. And so we're going to look at some subject lines that don't work, how we can fix them, and just talk about what it takes to become a more trusted inbox personality, so to speak, with your cold leads or members that don't know you as well. And let's get started. First of all, I'm going to bring up an email I found only because I was looking for bad examples. I'm not going to do this to shame anybody. In fact, a lot of these subject lines you're going to see were pre-made by a service that I'm not a really big fan of. It's an email marketing service that writes the emails for you, and the problem with them is they tend not to be very personal. They're not in the voice of the person who sent it to me. They often make assumptions or misunderstandings about my relationship with that actual person I have, and so it's very clear that it comes from somebody else because the person who sent it in their name, I already know them very well, and they wouldn't send me emails like this, or they already know things about me that don't quite align with what's written in the email. So let's take a look at one that immediately flagged me to just not open it. It says, "Today only," and that's all it says. And yeah, sometimes you can get a little bit of the synopsis of the subject, or the actual body of the email comes up in the summary, and you can kind of glean what it might be about from that. But really, "today only" tells me nothing. In fact, the exclamation point in it makes me think, well, it must be a sales thing, so I'm not going to look. And I don't know what the sale is going to be on, so I don't necessarily really care to find out. And it reminds me of this. Check this out. "Today only, 40% off our readers." Okay, I bought my readers. I'm happy with them. I don't need more. If I did, though, I know the readers. 40% off site-wide. I know it's from readers.com. I immediately know, well, if I'm looking for a sale and I need to buy readers today, that's a deal I could take them up on. So I know what the thing is right away, and I can choose whether or not to read it or just set it aside because it's not for me right now. With this one, I don't know at all what it's for. It just says "today only." So that's not helpful. But also, it kind of has a salesy message, much like this one, and so it's turned me off. It's not always about attention grabbing and exclamation points. Yes, they can be helpful sometimes. But also, at times, we're so inundated with all these marketing messages that those kind of things just put our defenses up. We want to hear from people that we know and trust, and we don't always want to feel like we're being sold to. And so, it's about engaging people and gaining their trust too. So let's close that one. And here's another example. Well, actually, let's talk about, well, how do you even gain trust then? A good example of that might be, let's see here. Here's something that a friend of mine would say. So he's not going to capitalize everything and send a bunch of exclamation points. Made this several years ago. Mission statement I drew up inspired by the book Boys in the Boat. And that's from a friend. So you'll notice he only capitalized the first letter of each word. He doesn't use all caps. And that's a pretty important thing to remember. Your friends are usually not going to capitalize everything, like every single first letter of every first word. But you'll notice that marketing messages do. Let's see if I can find an example of that. So let's go to my promotions tab. So let's go. So here we got one from another marketer that is pretty good marketing for the most part, except for "warning, the discount is going away," all caps. That's actually a pretty good reason why he's actually stuck in my promotions tab. You see, a lot of your readers are on Google Mail, Gmail. And Gmail has a filter on it. It filters the subject lines. If you use a lot of caps, if you're shouting "free," "bonus," "exclusive content," "exclusive bonus," Gmail picks up on that, throws it in a promotion tab, and if usually your readers are not going to take the time to go to promotions unless they're trying to find something that they didn't get that they're expecting in their primary tab. But otherwise, when they open Google Mail, Gmail, this is what they see. Now, there are ways of getting those emails to always show up there, but that's a talk for another time because that's a bit of an art and a little bit of science. And it does change from time to time. So let's move on. Another thing you can try is questions. Now, here's an example of a bad question. Essential oils equal new favorite recipe. Recipe for what? And what am I going to do with that recipe? Now, the email itself is kind of interesting, but that subject line just turned me off so much. Like, I might be interested in using essential oils in a recipe to cook something, but how about something like, try this delicious recipe for brownies, fish, something, or, delicious blah, blah, blah that your kids will love, that kind of thing. And it could say using essential oils in the subject line. So it doesn't tell you what the benefit is. It doesn't tell you what it's about. It's just too vague of a question. Worse yet, my favorite email by them. I don't have it open. Oh, it says Young Living circa 1989. What? I don't understand that one at all. Even if you're interested in the business, like super nerdy interested in the business, chances are you're not going to open that email. Because what is the benefit to you? Who's got that burning question like, what about 1989 Young Living? What's that? And it's not even clear that that's what the email's about. So ways of asking questions would be, well, here's one. Glenn, would you do me a favor? Now, I've seen this a million times and I know all the tricks. So this one, I immediately knew what it was going to be. It's going to be a survey so he can get more information about me, get my demographics, find out what I make per year, and filter me to find out through a sophisticated survey whether or not my product is right for him or which product he might send me email marketings on. This is pretty high level filtering. And frankly, I just wasn't all that interested in his stuff. I couldn't remember why I signed up for him in the first place. I don't remember who he is. So it's kind of like he doesn't really fully have my trust. I don't remember what his product is. So I didn't open it, but it's a little bit better. Can you do me a favor? It sounds something more like what a friend might ask you. There's another way of doing it. If you've got a benefit, and actually there is one email from, I'll just call them out, Marketing Sense. I'm sorry, I'm not a fan. I used the product for a minute. I could not stand it. It's not personal enough. The emails are very generic. The pictures are very generic and don't always fit my demographic. That's why I started creating my own version of Marketing Sense that is personal, that you can do a lot more with, and I'll talk about that some other time. But for now, let's just talk about one that they did right that was good. It was something like an essential oils tea or something like that to maintain healthy weight loss, ? Instead of making a bold claim, this tea will, help you maintain your weight loss or help you maintain a healthy weight. That sometimes will turn people off because it just sounds like a sales claim or something. But if you ask it in the form of a question, can this do this? The answer is yes, but people might want to find out, well, then how? It's somehow like a psychological tool that makes it a little bit more likely that somebody won't be turned off by the message. Okay, moving on. Yes, let's leave. Let's see, what else? What do I want to talk about? Intrigue. Okay, so intrigue is where you might have a subject line that isn't just like a cliffhanger. I mean, that's a trick you can use from time to time. Not a trick, but just a method. But here's one, like, open. You'll thank me for this. That's pretty interesting. Okay, what might it be? There's a little bit of intrigue there. It's curiosity. Should I move to a new city? Well, there's a question, and it's like, is there a story behind this? And this might be interesting to me because as a business person, I might think, well, my town is too small. Maybe I should move. And that's something that I had done in my life already, moving to New York, moving to Boston, moving to California. Let's see if I can find another one of his. I can't find them right now, but he tells really good stories. This is Ramit Sethi. He's a genius at email marketing, and he always ends up in my inbox. Although I might have set him to not go to my promotions tab a while back. I don't recall. But his emails are always full of value, and that's the thing. Add value. Don't just offer to sell something to somebody. Give people a reason to open your email. They want to know, like, oh, whenever this person emails me, there's always something I learned that is very useful, or there's always some tool or thing they tell me about that has helped me in my business or my whatever. You want to think of hooks. In marketing, hooks are the things that, well, obviously they're things that grab people, but they grab people because they are the things that people want but don't yet have. And so you're gonna give them something that they didn't have before, and you're gonna say, you didn't have this before, now you're gonna have this. Or what can you provide that a way of feeling that they didn't feel before? This is a before and after that you're giving them. How can you make their life more efficient? Those kinds of things. Those are hooks. Let's see if we can find one in Ramit's emails. How top performers land a job within days. Now, if I was looking for something like that, that is, I don't have a job and I want a top job, or I don't like my current job, but I want to land a top job. This is going to tell me how. I know what the email is going to tell me. I can decide whether or not to read it based on my interest level. How to be interesting when you introduce yourself. Maybe I come into situations where I talk to people a lot, but I'm nervous or shy, or I feel like I didn't really set a good example. So now it's, you weren't interesting when you introduced yourself before. Now I'm going to have this charisma or this interesting encounter with people when I introduce myself. It's something I didn't have before, and I will have. What it boils down to, as I said, is it's not the feature. He's not telling you how. He's not like, this thing is important to do. The feature is, let's take a look at it. What does he say the thing is? It's coming up with a pre-planned story about yourself that is interesting. Instead of saying, I'm a writer, I tried out, I'm an author. And he found out that for some reason that made a bigger deal, because lots of people could write in lots of different ways. But author had a certain gravitas about it. So he's not going to say, the power of changing your words, or just the right word. That's the feature, or the tool, or the method. It's not about selling the method or whatever. It's about selling the benefit. And the benefit is being more interesting when you introduce yourself. Look at the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. The benefit is in the title. That's a marketing book in a way, in many ways. Okay, let's go back to this. Oh, I mentioned intrigue before. Asking someone to mentor you is creepy. Do this instead. A lot of people are looking for mentors and they don't know how to find mentors. So you already know what the benefit's going to be. It's finding a mentor, but also it gets you interested because he doesn't give you how in the email subject line. He hints at a way to do it, and he gets you a little personality in here. It's creepy. He doesn't sound super formal. He sounds like a friend. He talks very informal. Here's another example of intrigue. She was speechless. This is a turn on an old, one of the first and best marketing pieces of what we call copy ever written, the best copy. And I believe it was something like this. When I sat down at the piano, everybody started to laugh, but then I started to play. And you'll see a bunch of different variations of this in BuzzFeed and in the margins and a lot of the ads you see on Facebook. And it's just a modification of that old ad. And that ad was for piano lessons, oddly enough. It was, I think, like a mail-in, like a mailer that you get, and also like a sheet inside of magazines. And it was one of the most successful ad campaigns of all time. And it continues decades later to be one of the most high-performing types of ad copy. You know what? Before we close, let's just talk about one more of these. A good friend of mine wrote an email I found by accident, and I thought it was really a great crafted email. And I never would have known about it except for I was looking for subject lines of emails I probably wouldn't read. And so I'm just going to apologize right now. I did not get a permission to do this, but it was April cleaning class and freebies. Don't know what the freebies are. And some of you might be interested in a cleaning class, but for me, I think of cleaning class and I go, I know how to clean. I don't know if I really want to learn about cleaning. So it's not 100% clear what it actually is. Then you read the email and it is in her personal voice. It shows her personality, it is expertly written, but I never would have known it except for looking for examples of subject lines that just don't result in open rates. And then I scrolled through it, and then the brilliance of this email is right here at the end, just before it tells you the details of where to go and what's going to be there. Learn how to skip the cleaning aisle, aka toxic waste zone, make your own natural products, and save money by using essential oils and safe ingredients. That's the subject line that should have been. Now we know the benefits. We're going to avoid toxic products. We're going to save money. There's our benefit. And we even know a little bit about how, or that we're going to find out how. Now we could shorten it up a little bit so it fits in the subject line. Something like, skip the cleaning aisle, save money, making your own non-toxic natural products. Cleaning products specifically, using essential oils. It's a little bit long, but you can kind of test it and see what fits. And that's an important thing to think about. Test out your emails and maybe even get another account. Get a Yahoo account, get a Gmail account, get a Hotmail account, and test your emails, send them off to your different accounts, and then check them and see what the subject lines look like. See how much fits in there. See how much of the summary of the body shows up. And you can experiment with those. All right, I hope you find this helpful. Good luck. I'm Glenn Allen. Have a great day.